What's up, Detroit sports fans? Welcome to Sports in the D. This your boy MJ.
It's your boy C Booth. You seen us on the field, now you get to see us in the studio.
You love Detroit sports? We love Detroit sports.
Welcome to the Sports in the D show.
All right, so we're going to come in today talking about game of the week. Last week, our game of the week was Fortson versus Belleville. This week, we keep it real DPS, real Detroit Public School League. And we're going to take it to Mumford Renaissance, which is a big game, especially heading into the Detroit PSL playoffs.
You want to run that, Joey?
So
what you think about the game, man?
What I think about the game? Being that I wasn't at the game, I just watched the film. Off of film, it looked a little one-sided to me, but the game was a lot closer than it looked on film. You know, it was 18 and 14. But I just thought that, Mumford, they just ran the ball real hard, man. They had speed. You know, they were hitting, you know what I'm saying? They were aggressive. The offensive line stood out when I went back and watched it, you know what I'm saying? After, the highlights and stuff, went back and watched it. The offensive line just had these big holes, they big, wide bodies, They out there, you know what I'm saying? So that's what stood out to me. I thought everybody ran to the ball pretty well. I thought, it was a good hustle on both sides. What about you?
Honestly, I was at the game, so I filmed the game. It was a lot of big-time players in this game, man. Number 4 had a really big game for Renaissance. I think number 10 on defense. Number 4 was, what's his name? Darnell Adams. He's a junior for Renaissance. He had a really good game. He had a really big catch for a touchdown. He had a really big run in the game. Number 10, Jalen Stevens, Big Dog Stevens. He is sophomore. He huge for a sophomore, man. You definitely gotta pay attention to him. All colleges gotta pay attention to him, man. He was getting to the ball all day. He had a really big game defensively for them. But I want to hit the offensive line, man. Offensive line of Mumford, defensive line of Mumford, they dominate that game. The game is won in the trenches, right? That's what all football people say. I think they definitely they really big up front. Mumford is really, really big up front. But they had these really small backs, bro. Number 5, what's his name? Martell Bird. Right. And number 8, Chris Johnson. One of them a senior, one of them a junior. They both about 5'5". You know what I mean? No taller than 5'5", man. They just hide behind these big 6', 6'2" linemen, and it's hard to find them. And then on top of it, it's hard to tackle them because they run so hard. You know what I mean?
Like lightning and lightning.
Right.
It's 2 back to back. So what did you think about? How did you think about Rennie's comeback? You know what I'm saying? They had the ball.
Right.
Driving down the field. It's almost over. You know what I'm saying? They score, they win. You know what I'm saying? They down 4 points. Then you get the big interception by number 17.
Yeah.
What's 17's name?
I don't think I'll put his name down here. But I think honestly the turning point for me was when Renaissance scored that big touchdown, when Raekwon Beal threw the touchdown to Darnell Adams. I think the turning point had to be right after that. They got the ball. Mumford got the ball with like 7 minutes to go in the game. We put it on the video, and they drove down the entire field, running the ball, doing what they did the entire game, dominating in the trenches, using those small running backs to find those holes and get first downs. They ran the entire clock down, man. By the time when they scored, it was like 22 seconds left. When the quarterback ran that quarterback sneak in, what's his name?
Number 3.
Tyler Knowlton. When he ran in the touchdown, it was like 22 seconds left in the game. So the turning point for me, honestly, was when they got the ball at that point in time and drove and ran that entire clock down. Renaissance didn't even get a chance. They got a chance, but it was 22 seconds, and they really weren't able to move the ball most of the game. So
right. Okay. So what do you think? How important is this game in the PSL playoffs? Denby played Mumford this upcoming week. It's a big game. Some of the comments, we got a lot of comments on Instagram talking about the game. Who's going to win, Mumford or Denby? Who do you think is going to win?
Honestly, man, I think the game is one in the trenches, man. And I think Denby offensive line is questionable to me. They didn't look that strong against East English, which honestly East English is not a very good football team this year. And I believe that they struggled against King. Those are 2 games I saw them at. I think really, when it comes down to it, I want to pick Mumford. You know what I mean? I think Denby has the better athletes on the outside, but I believe that the game is won in the trenches. So I got to give my edge is definitely going to Mumford. Don't get me wrong, Marquez my boy, but I got to go with Mumford, man.
Okay, so moving on from game of the week. That was our game of the week. Denby versus Mumford. Give me your player of the week, man. Who's your player of the week?
You know what? I gotta stick to Mumford. I hate to just be like on Mumford tip right now, big time. But I think Martell Bird, he had a really good game, man. He was running hard the entire game. I thought Christopher Johnson had a really good game too, but Martell was toting that boy, man. Every time he got the ball, it was like, he was averaging a good 8-7 yards every time he touched the ball. So his impact on the game was definitely felt on that last drive and throughout the entire game. Okay. What you got, man?
I'm actually going over to the Catholic League.
Okay.
This is a team that I've seen 3 times. I saw them earlier this year when they played Muskegon. I saw them a few times with St.Marys, and I saw them versus Davidson. Versus Davidson, they held Davidson to 0 points. And I know that's a defensive thing, but my guy was a running back. He controlled the clock with his running. And my guy is Brett Stanley, number 30 for Lasalle. He just had a great game, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have it wasn't super gaudy, but it was super efficient. He executed very well, very, very, very well. Sometimes they run the same play 3 times or all 3 downs, and it's up to him to make it happen. And he made big plays when he needed to. 3-yard touchdown scamper. He also had a huge, it was so sweet. If y'all on our Instagram or y'all on our Twitter, y'all saw, he come up the middle and he hit him with a Christian McCaffrey spin. I almost lost him on the camera. Thank God I didn't. I got the edge of it, but yeah, he was definitely my player of the week because he's just he's a weapon and they use him. They don't throw a lot. It's 80-20, you know what I'm saying, or even 90-10, And I think that's how you control and you win games through the running game and controlling the clock.
So we came up with a couple different rankings this week.
Yeah, we had to switch it up from just impact, player rankings. Then we decided to go Catholic League because we've been seeing a lot of Catholic League. This is just topic of discussion, Catholic League. So we decided to rank them, and we're going to start with number 4. We didn't even put Jesuit in there because they not
technically in that Catholic League anymore. So
okay, so at number 4, go.
I wanna say Brother Rice. You got what's his name?
Quarterback. How you say his last name?
How you say his last name, Joey?
Piscopine.
Okay. All right, so so I want to go with number 4 being Brother Rice, quarterback Greg Piscopine. He a leader on that team, man. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I've seen him play twice, and both of the times I've seen him play, the second time I've seen him play, he didn't play. He played a team from Canada. They really weren't that good, but he definitely shows a lot of leadership on that field.
Right.
Honestly, being a quarterback, you got to be a leader. I think putting them at 4, I don't think it's necessarily showing. It's not because of him. It's not a reflection of him. But I really believe that it's got a lot to do with just how tough the Catholic League is.
Yeah.
It's not even really how bad Brother Rice is. I just look at they wins.
Well, they not really
and I
bad.
Look at who they look who they lost to. You know what I mean? Like they lost to CC 7-3, and who else did they lose to? St. Marys. Yeah. It was St. Marys. They lost to St. Marys on a Saturday, and honestly, those are probably 2 best teams. But I really think that the Catholic League is so tough, man. All of those can be swapped out week to week. You know what I mean? And putting them at 4, I don't think it's saying that they're a bad team.
It's Catholic League. It's tough. It's tough this year. Really tough. St. Marys is down the last 2 years. So now they back to prominence. At least they hope. But we're going to keep it moving. We're going to get into who we had at number 4. And this is controversial. Number 3. This is controversial as well because we debated this, all night long. But we got Catholic Central, who is 4-3, at number 3. And they had really tough losses to some out-of-state teams in Ohio. Toledo Whitmere, who's 6-1. They lost to them 14-7. Toledo Catholic Central, who they lost to 28-14. to 6, and they are also 6-1. And they got some really good wins on their belt. King, Rice, St. Marys. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here go the game actually right here. Cool. Popped up. Or did you cue it, Joey? Cue it, baby.
Joey, man.
Okay, so they switched up their quarterback a few games ago to Declan Bio, sophomore quarterback. He won the game for him versus Brother Rice. They got Brandon Yatuma. He plays both ways. A lot of these guys in the Catholic League plays both ways. Brandon Yatuma is a both-way player. He good, linebacker, running back. Then you got John Brew, who's a junior wide receiver. You got some. It's an inside-outside.
That's a big-time kid too, man.
Yeah, inside-outside game. So, what are your thoughts on?
I think John is a really good player, bro. Mm-hmm. I think he had this is him making a play right here. I remember this play. This is a really good shot too. Shot by your boy. I think honestly, his breakaway speed is not the best, but as far as just making plays, he a playmaker, man.
Right.
And honestly, he checked Rashawn the entire game. Yeah. And he was on the field the entire game, like you said.
Rashawn had a lot of love for him. I saw him shaking
hands. They took a picture after the game together. Yeah. But I just think I definitely think that Catholic CC when you look at CC football, man, they always dominate in the trenches. Game is won in the trenches, and it's hard to beat them in the trenches. They always got some big boys up there. I think it's pretty good to put them at 3. Who you think is at number 2, man?
Who I think at number 2? Oh, at number 2 I have De Lasalle. De Lasalle at number 2 because honestly I think that De Lasalle has the best defense in the Catholic League. They lost to Muskegon 41-7 to start the season. All right, we get it. They lost to Brother Rice only by 2 points. They got wins against Catholic Central, and they also have a good win against Davidson last week. But their defense is not the problem. They've lost 2 games. First was it St.Marys and was it Brother Rice by 2 points. So, and I was at the St. Mary's game.
Same exact score, too.
Same exact score, 16-14. And I was at the St. Mary's game when they had a chance to win. Before he threw the game to number 6, Mason, it was raining, pouring. Worst game I've ever been to when it was raining. And it went through his arms. He dropped it, but it was supposed to be a 40-yard touchdown. So that right there, that could easily be 5-2 right now. If it means just 1 or 2 plays. Their defense is just astounding. They're not giving up any points. They're giving up 10 points. You take away that 41-point slaughter against Muskegon, who got a hell of a team. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely top 5 in the state.
Yeah, and they only giving up
top 3.
Like 4 or 5 points a game. So I had De Lasalle up there again. I'm gonna name some of the defensive players just so you guys at home know. But we got Michael Young. Who else do we got? Michael Young Jr. We got William Beasley, a linebacker, Jaden Conklin, Desmond. I forgot his first name. But I want to talk about that kicker. The kicker special, Daniel Helpler. He made a really good play. He always kicking the ball good, punting the ball good. So that's where I'm at with it with this side.
Yeah, I think St. Marys, you got to put them at 1, man. They're 6-1 right now. Mm-hmm. The only loss they have too is against CC, which we both know CC is a really good football team.
Right.
But they got some big wins, man. They beat De Lasalle in that game that you were just talking about. Mm-hmm. They beat Brother Rice. They also have a great leader at quarterback in Grant Henson. You know what I mean? He's a senior. Mm-hmm. Being a senior at that kind of school, it takes a lot of guts to be able to take, the wrath from the coaches, and they put a lot of pressure on these kids to be really good football players. But it's good. It's good pressure because in life you gonna have pressure all the time. It's not like in football. It's a game of preparation. The one thing that's different about football than any other sport is the greatest sport in preparation for life, in my opinion. So I think them putting that pressure on him stepping up and excelling and exceeding that pressure, I think is really good. And I think the team, they really rally behind them. I think they really have a good defense too, man.
Yeah.
I honestly, I think, when I look at St. Mary's, man, one thing about St. Mary's that you always know, they always have great athletes. They always have great athletes. You know what I mean?
Like number one, Anthony. We don't know how to say your last name, so you're going to have to send us that with pronunciation, my guy. But yeah, wide receiver, yeah. I mean, I was on the sideline. People just kept talking about him being the best athlete on the field. But they got a two-headed monster. They got a two-headed monster at running back with Davis and Anton. You know, they can put up numbers. You know, they can really, you know, you got speed, you got size, you got, you know. So we got St. Mary's at 6-1. Notable loss to CC, notable wins. Wall Lake Western, they played some good teams as well. But we're going to get out of this Catholic League ranking, but that is our Catholic League ranking for as far as week 7 goes through 7 games. So leave comments on that below.
So let's get into these PSL rankings, man. PSL playoffs start this week. It's going to be a really entertaining weekend. I think we definitely got some pretty good feedback. People were really kind of a little upset about the whole Cavs
being ranked.
But I mean, honestly, let's start at 5, man. Who you got at 5?
Okay, last week Cass was 4, and this is not because you made that comment, but this week we have Cass at 5, being that these other teams, you know, I feel like they played better so far. To me, Cass is they got the quarterback Sebastian Brown. A lot of people want to put the blame on the quarterback when they lose and when they win. But he's athletic. I think they need to get him more in space. I think it's more of an execution thing. They got a good O-line, but I think their O-line is the highlight. Where in past years, the highlight of the team has been the skill positions, you know. And they always had a good O-line, but don't get me wrong. They, you know, over the years, you know, you had Peoples and Riley Hall and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This year, they don't really have that execution or that level of talent, but they still have talent. So.
Yeah, well, every time I look at Cass, man, I always just say, is they always got the athletes. They always match up really well against the other team when it comes to athletes. It's just sometimes I feel like how they use them is just I feel like they can use them a little bit better. You know what I mean? That's no disrespect to any of the coaches. I believe that they can be used a little bit better. You got really special athletes. I feel like you got to really tweak some things, really kind of, you know, not really be tricky with it, but just have a different approach to it, I guess. But at number 4, we got Rennie.
We just took an L to Mumford, by the way. So.
And they were number 3 last week. So I think putting them at 4 was kind of like, you know, Mumford was number 5 last week. You got to move Mumford up. They got to be above Rennie. And it was a convincing win. It wasn't like, it was, you know, they barely won. No, they dominated that game in the trenches. You know what I mean? In the running game, and they took the last 8 minutes and won that game. So I think Rennie, Raquan Bill, that's my first time ever watching him live. I want to see more out of him. I'm not going to lie, man. I think in order for them to beat Keene this week, he's got to play better, man. I think they really got the athletes on the outside to get it done with Darnell Adams, Justin Whitehorn. You got Jordan Johnson, Jerome Nichols, all of those players are really good athletes. Jerome Nichols had a really good game in that game too. He had a bunch of tackles in between the tackles, playing middle linebacker. I think he had a really good game.
I saw Johnson flash, number 11. I saw him flashing on the screen. He was in on a lot of plays, a lot of hits, running backs down, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But we're going to get off the Rennie. We hit on Mumford just a little bit, but we do have Mumford at number 3. Mumford did move up. We stated that before. But, you know, Kirk was at the game, and he convinced me. And if somebody can convince me in the debate, then I will adhere to all of that information. And we agreed that Mumford would be at number 3. I trust his judgment a lot. But like you said, you had number 5, Martell Bird, number 8. Again, that's like we keep talking about these two-headed monsters at running back. And this is another team that got, you know, 2 guys that can really, you know, push the ball. Tote that thing.
Right. I think, yeah, man, I spoke a lot about Mumford. The coach, one of the coaches at halftime, I told him about the rankings. And I was like, yeah, man, we got you out at number 5. He was like, man, we should be number 1. I'm like, all right,
Stop.
man. Like, no, I mean, I'm not mad at it. I like the confidence.
Right.
You know what I mean? They really believe they're the best team in the PSL. That's you talk to them about it. That's how they feel, and they feel like right now King has that throne, and they want to take it from him. But I think
Mumford
this
have
week,
the bodies, because King got depth. That's the
oh
one
yeah,
thing
for
the King
sure.
always have.
I mean, I think King is still at the top, but I mean, that's why you play the playoffs. That's why you play the game. You know what I mean? So I think them playing Denby this week, we got Denby at number 2. Is definitely gonna prove whoever win that game, Denby either gonna get a rematch with King,
Right.
Because I really don't see King losing the Renaissance. But Denby. The Renaissance, Denby gonna get another chance at King, or Mumford gonna get that chance to show that they the number 1 team in the PSL.
Right.
So,
And so we go. Well, we just dubbed Denby at number 5. You want to name a couple? Number 2. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
At number 2. So we gonna drop a couple names. We gonna name drop real quick, just so you guys, know some of the players.
Latrell Tompkins, man, committed to Toledo. Latrell, he a really big kid. He's extremely fast for his size, extremely athletic. I think, the one thing about the PSL is the PSL, a lot of times they don't get really the recognition that they should because they get overshadowed by King and Cass a lot. You know what I mean? But I think that this year Denby is definitely proving themselves as a team that can compete.
Right.
They're 6-1 right now.
Right. And they stronger. The PSL is stronger than it's been in the last few years. Even though with Cass dropping off, it kind of like evened the scale out a little bit, like the balance of the power, within the PSL. So it's
you got Isaiah Pollard, who had a really big catch against King, and then my boy Marquez Bridges, man. Marquez is my guy. Been talking to Marquez since he played for the Cowboys. Really underrated athlete, but I think Denby match up really well with their athletes. Right. Against Mumford. It's just going to be who win the game in the trenches.
Right, so we moving into number 1, and obviously number 1, we had him ranked there last week, but this week is King, running it back 2 weeks in a row. They're 5-2. My whole thing with King is how good is King really? Because they started off 0-2, 2 good teams, Muskegon and Catholic Central. And now they won 5 straight and really pretty much routing everybody. So it's like, are the players getting enough, enough? What do you know how when you go into the playoffs, you got the playoff teams and the ones that, like maybe the first week bye, like in the NFL when they're going to bye.
You're saying are they getting the competition?
Yeah, that they need to stay ready. You know what I'm saying?
I think honestly, the teams they played, I think Denby was a tough team, don't get me wrong. I think Denby is a really good football team. But I think with King's depth, it's really hard for a team like that. I mean, I don't even think Denby had enough players to do a 11-on-11 practice. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't. I didn't see it when I was at the King game. Right. So I'm just saying, you got kids that's not showing up to practice every day. I mean, that definitely has a huge effect on that. But I think as far as, King, man, they just got so many Division I athletes, man. They got Jalen Reed. He's got multiple offers. DeAndre Buford, he's going to Kentucky. Right. Rashawn, he's committed to Indiana. Dante, probably one of the best freshman quarterbacks in the country. Really, I think Dante, I'm saying that right now, Dante is one of the best quarterbacks in the country in his class. Right. And I think, and honestly, King didn't even have, what's his name? Damani. Yeah, they didn't even have Damani. He was standing on the sideline. Didn't know Damani was a sophomore.
And he's sweet.
He's Damani sweet. Run tough, man.
Yeah, he can run
real tough.
He can run for real. Like, Penny had a couple, Well, it's good to be.
It's a good balance. Yeah, big time.
You know what I'm saying? So if Penny not going,
and it's something about having a small back in between those big linemen. You know what I mean? Like when you see a bigger dude coming through there, it's like, all right, either make it or break it. I'm gonna have to take him down, or he gonna take me down. You know what I mean? But when you see a little back coming through there, sometimes you're not in the right position to actually tackle him because you don't even know where he's coming from. You know what I mean? I think Marshawn Lee, that's your boy too, man. That's your boy too.
Flash and shine.
Right, that boy be going crazy. He got a lot of good stats this year.
Yeah, well, he play offense, and he plays special teams, and people underrate special teams. The special teams is 1/3 of the game, and they can change the game. And it's actually the first play of the game. I got that from a River Rouge coach.
For me, it's the most important phase because it's the original first down. So if you on kickoff, it's the first play of the game.
You don't think about it, the special teams is the first play of the game.
Right.
So his ability to be able to take one to the crib if he need to can change the game.
Mean, that's what he did against CC.
Yeah, brought him back.
I want to shout out one more player, man. Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier is always making plays, bro. Every time I go to a King game, that kid over there smacking people. He always lowering his shoulder on somebody, laying a boom.
Right.
I think he's a really underrated player, and I think, honestly, he definitely is a Division I talent, in my opinion. But he's, I think, honestly, on that defensive back end, you got Jordan Reed, you got him. It's kind of hard to go over the top and come across the middle because you got them two hard-hitting safeties coming at you, man. It's a little intimidating.
And shout out your boy Rashawn Williams, always, man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we know
that's
what
my
you
guy.
do, Rashawn.
Trub, what up, Trub?
You know what I'm saying? But, all right, man, so that's our PSL ranking. King at number 1. We're going to run it back. We got King, Denby, Mumford, Rennie, and Cass. If you're another DPS team you feel like you should be in the ranking, hit us up. Let us know who you feel like you should be. We got a couple notable games that we're going to, just for this upcoming week, which are games Catholic Central versus River Rouge. That's a game I would love to get down to. Man, I'm trying to maneuver our schedule to get down to that game. Farmington versus North Farmington, both teams
Two undefeated teams.
You know what I'm saying?
Harrison just closed last year.
Yeah, so
it's North Farmington's first time they've been undefeated like this far in like 31 years. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I went to Farmington High School back in the day. I was a Falcon, but and we also got Chip versus Romeo.
Very good game.
Denby versus Mumford, as we stated earlier, and King versus Rennie. So if you think there's another game of the week, we had a guy talking about Troy versus Bloomfield. If you got a game, hit us up. Let us know. DM us. Like I said, we need y'all help.
Continue to give us some huddle highlights, man.
Yeah.
Please.
So we can look and check it out. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate everybody who watching this. We appreciate all the fans, all the comments. Thank you guys so much. Sports in the D.
We out.